You're listening to Fresh Hope for Mental Health. Hello, my friend, and welcome to Fresh Hope for Mental Health. I'm Brad Hoefs, your host. Our purpose here on Fresh Hope for Mental Health is to empower you to live a faith-filled, rich, and full life in spite of having a mental health diagnosis. You know, I hate to say this, but I'm in very real way living proof that it is possible to live well in spite of having a mental health diagnosis and in spite of whatever having that problem may have caused in your life prior to medicine. I mean, by all full accounts of my own life, I really shouldn't even be doing what I'm doing because most people would have given up and, if you will, yielded. But by God's grace, it's not by my choosing, but by God's grace and by the love of many around me that I not only got back up to live, but I'm seeing God redeem my pain. It's possible to disconnect from your past. It's possible to leave the broken relationships and the mistakes you've made. For instance, when you have depression or you have anxiety or you have schizophrenia or you have schizoaffective disorder or you have bipolar disorder or whatever disorder, personality disorders, whatever those things are, prior to a diagnosis, you're gonna cause a lot of issues most likely because it all affects your behavior. And you and I can easily feel like we're losers, we're broken, we can't be used, and all of those kinds of things. But the reality is that these issues, they're chemically based. They're a brain issue. They're a dysfunction of the brain, just like you can have kidney problems or you can have liver problems or whatever. And our society has so stigmatized it that it feels like a character flaw, or it feels like there's something wrong with us. I used to worry that people would, if I really let them know what was going on inside of me, this was prior to being diagnosed, I would think, oh my gosh, if people really knew what I'm thinking and what's going on inside of me, they would think that I'm a terrible person. I got to calling it my monster inside of me, and I try to control it and all of those kinds of things. And the reality is that God gives new beginnings, fresh starts. And it is quite possible to detach yourself and move forward in hope, believing that He can take all that brokenness from behind you and take it and make it work for your good. Doesn't mean that you and I won't experience discouragement and all those things. I'm not talking about thinking positive. I'm talking about believing and knowing, choosing by faith to be filled with hope no matter what. It's kind of like watching your favorite team play football, and if they're not doing well and you don't know the outcome of the game, you're watching it because it was pre-recorded, and you don't know the outcome of the game, you're going to have some anxiety. You might have some angst and get irritated with it, but in the end, they win. Or you can watch the game and know who already won, your team won, and you watch them flub up and all of that. You watch it differently. Well, that's how we do it in faith. That's how we do it as Christians. We can watch our lives. It can be difficult. It can be painful. We can experience those things. But we hold to the fact that Jesus has won, that He will take everything and make it for our good. That's the victory, and we already know that He won. And so we can move forward in hope. We can push through in hope. Now, it's difficult to do that if you haven't detached yourself from your past. I want to share with you a story. It's true. It happened. And it happened in the locker room at the gym where I belong. Yeah, I belong to a gym. I go to hang out with the guys and talk more than I do to go there and exercise. But anyway, that's another story. So I was in the locker room after exercising a little bit, and in walks a guy that none of us there's quite a few regulars. We're all older guys, and none of us had seen him before, and he had sort of a husky build, but you could see pride in his face. Man, he marched right into our locker room. Our locker room's like a men's fitness center, so it has an exercise area, the lockers, and then it also has a place with couches and a television, and you can read newspaper there. And so couple of us were sitting there and talking. And as this guy walked past us, you could see the pride in his face. He seemed to be very pleased with himself after exercising. Probably a former jock who was getting back on track now. So he finally decided to hit the gym and start an exercise program, which happens for many of us. Well, after he walked past us, three of us were sitting on the couch and we could see behind him, and we started to laugh hysterically. We became like junior high students laughing at something really corny. Why? Well, see, the guy was walking with such great pride, and little did he know he had about 2 feet of toilet paper hanging out of the waistband of his sweatpants. It still makes me laugh when I think about it. It looked like a paper trail, a toilet paper trail, or tail, better. Later, we found out that he had been running on the track that way, and the toilet paper was flapping in the wind as he ran. One of the other guys told us that. Oh, gosh, nobody told him. We were all laughing way too hard, and we wouldn't have been too kind if we had pointed it out. The moral of this story is when you decide to move forward in life, you got to make sure you're leaving your past behind you. Jesus came to redeem your past. He doesn't change it, but he changes the effect it has on you. He changes you for the better for the future. And it's important to disconnect from that, to not let those things, it's okay to regret and grieve. You got to do that. You got to process through it. But when that becomes toxic, when that becomes something you can't get past your past, well, then you've got a 2-foot toilet paper tail hanging out, and you can't move forward when you're holding on to something that's from the past. Early in my recovery, I had a hard time disconnecting from my past. It was the most difficult to let go of the remorse and anger. Somehow I felt like I needed to punish myself more for what had happened in my life. And I had hurt myself and hurt others, and so I just kept beating up on myself. And it kept me from being able to fully move forward. I needed to disconnect. What finally worked for me was I had to choose with my will, and I certainly didn't feel that, but I had to choose with my will to forgive myself. And sometimes it was minute by minute. And over time, the toxic remorse that had gripped me finally let go. And emotionally, it held no more power over me. It still holds no more power over me. I want to ask you, are you the guy coming into the gym and he's got his 2-foot tail of toilet paper hanging out because he didn't pay attention to, if you will, disconnecting? It's easy to do, my friend. Choose today to disconnect. Choose to say, this is it. I'm moving forward. Beating up on myself isn't going to change anything. Feeling horrible about things isn't going to change anything. What will change something is you disconnecting, letting God redeem it. He'll redeem all that pain. He's in the business of already doing it. So, move forward, my friend. May it be a lesson learned for you and for me. I want to thank you for listening. I hope this edition of Fresh Hope Today has been helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you. Please email me comments, questions. You can email through freshhopeformentalhealth.com, or you can go to freshhope.us. Email any of the emails there, or info@freshhope.us. I will get the email, and I'd be happy to answer your questions or share your insights on our program. And if you'd like to connect through Facebook or Twitter, please do so. You can find all that information on our websites also, and our YouTube channel and all of that. And if you do me a favor and go to iTunes and write a review of the program, that would be helpful. So helps us in the rankings of iTunes and Google so people can find us. If you haven't seen the book, Fresh Hope, Living Well in Spite of Having a Mental Health Diagnosis, check it out on Amazon or check it out at freshhopebook.com. please be sure and tell your friends about this program. I'm glad you spent this time with me. I hope to hear from you. Until the next time, my friend, may the Lord fill you with his hope, fresh and new daily. I'm Brad Hoefs, your host, and this has been another edition of Fresh Hope for Mental Health. God bless you. You've been listening to Fresh Hope for Mental Health. For more information, go to www.freshhopeformentalhealth.com.